And we're underway. The New York Cosmos have kicked things off, and already they're going to head down the field and try to get an attack going. This is Dennis TUEART on the left side, and TUEART working his way through the striker defense, and the ball's booted away by COLIN Fowles up into the play over the touchline. It'll be a throw-in for the New York Cosmos. Bill, right off, what will a team be looking for on an early attack like this?
Well, they both play it very conservatively. The Cosmos are noted for playing a conservative game, letting the other team come to them, and then from there they counterattack and tend to burn you. And this is what the strikers have done. They've gone after the Cosmos. Today they seem to be laid back a little bit and just trying to feel their way through it rather than getting burnt on an early goal.
Of course, as we said, the strikers have not had a lot of success here in Giant Stadium. As a matter of fact, losing last year 7-0. Here's TUEART working with it. TUEART feeding it into the middle. CHINAGLIA lets it go through, and it's kicked out of there and cleared away by the striker defense. And now you'll see Terry Park working with it over on the far side, trying to get upfield and get something going for the Fort Lauderdale Strikers. Feeds it down past the 35-yard line, and the Cosmos will regroup and head back up.
The early part of this game, Chuck, we got to keep our eye on Terry Park, Ray Hudson, and see whether they're going to mark up tightly or not at midfield, because BOGICEVIC ran wild last year as well as Beckenbauer, and this year Newman's going to try and use that midfield to tighten them up sooner.
There's Ken Fogarty booting it in to Arnie MAUSSER, and MAUSSER whips it over to Maurice Whittle. Thunder boot. Boy, what a leg this guy's got. He can let load with it. And the strikers will group up in the backfield and head up, hopefully, to try to get something going. George Best now working with it. Of course, the strikers still trying to get something going after that 4-0 loss to the Washington Diplomats, marred, of course, by the players' strike last week. And, of course, the strikers had to use fill-ins. Now we've got a whistle. This program, incidentally, is authorized under rights granted by the North American Soccer League solely for the entertainment of our audience, and any publication, rebroadcast, or other use of the pictures, description, and accounts of this event, including the imposition of a charge for viewing the program without the express consent of the Fort Lauderdale Strikers, is strictly prohibited. We just about got things ready to go down there. A slight whistle.
Dennis TUEART had pushed Bobby Korish as he ran around that ball, and now the strikers have a direct kick.
George Best to take the kick. And Bestie boots it down the right side. A little pushing on Bobby Korish. Eskandarian, the defender there on Korish, marking tightly. Eskandarian making his Giant Stadium debut. He's a new addition to this great team the New York Cosmos have. And now a close goal. Oh, George Best booted it in, but now the official. No goal. No goal. It does not count. An excellent play, though. George Best got the boot into it.
That was a shaky call there, Chuck. The referee did not allow the play to go on. He stopped the goal, and now they'll have a direct kick outside the penalty box. And watch George Best looking for WHELAN.
Best tried to boot it right in there, but MARINHO there to knock it away over the goal line. So it'll be a corner kick for the Fort Lauderdale Strikers, and these are very dangerous situations, Bill.
Well, corner kicks are considered half a goal. As you see, George Best, who's a genius at improvising, as well as Ray Hudson. They may use a couple of signals. Watch Tony WHELAN on the near post.
He lofts it high, and oh, Errol Yassin going high in the air to take that ball down. Great play.
And he's hurt,
by
Chuck.
the Cosmos goalie. He is hurt. He threw the ball over the touchline. Yassin is hurting. And we'll be back with more Soccer 79 after this. Was that it? Oh. Who's the reserve?
Bursic, America. Thank you.
Stand by. Wait.
Mike's on. Stand by.
Yassin stays in the game, and we're back in action. Just injured and shaken up slightly when he went up and took that ball in the air. Now the Cosmos trying desperately to get something going down the left side. SENINHO with it, and the ball goes over the goal line. So it'll be a goal kick for Strikers goalie Arnie MAUSSER. The crowd doesn't like the call. They'd prefer to see the Cosmos, of course, with a corner kick. But that won't be the case, and Maurice Whittle will get a chance to bring it up for the Fort Lauderdale Strikers.
Some interesting chess games going out on the field right now. Whelan on SENINHO. You got Fogarty on CHINAGLIA, and they're just playing cat and mouse, trying to see who's going to make the first mistake.
That was Franz Beckenbauer in midfield there to Eskandarian. Back to Beckenbauer, and Beckenbauer, a large player, or a number of the Cosmos players. Nice takeaway there by Ken Fogarty. Fogarty to Kubias, who feeds it ahead to Korish, and now the Cosmos regain possession. Cosmos with a nice takeaway there by RIJSBERGEN. And now Beckenbauer works it out on the far right side. Beckenbauer working with it, marked closely by Terry Park. They come into midfield with it. And now they go to Wim RIJSBERGEN and over to Marinho. Marinho, the blonde, out of Holland. He, of course, the teammate of Johan Cruyff, and we'll be telling you a little bit more about Cruyff, as there are a lot of rumors here in the Meadowlands area about Johan Cruyff, the top Dutch star. Now you've got Colin Fowles racing with it up the sideline. He loses possession. It goes over the touchline. It'll be a throw-in for the New York Cosmos. Carlos Alberto with it.
You'll see Colin Fowles coming up out of that right fullback position. Last year, Alan Hamlin got burned pretty badly, and they've got to watch that their overlaps don't burn them too early.
Now the Cosmos going again. Working down that right side is Dennis TUEART. TUEART, and a nasty collision over there. And Arnie MAUSSER comes up and makes the save. MAUSSER going high into the air, taking the ball down, and getting the strikers out of danger. Now the strikers kick it ahead, knock it over the touchline, so it'll be a throw-in for the Cosmos.
Dennis TUEART didn't waste any time in trying to assert himself, throwing a little hip action on the Maurice Whittle, which was a questionable call.
Alberto with it, and he comes up over the 35-yard line to Beckenbauer. Both teams kind of feeling their way here in the early going. Dennis TUEART now kind of out of position there at midfield. Terry Park trying to mark on him there, and they go over to RIJSBERGEN. RIJSBERGEN chips it into the middle, headed out and cleared out by the striker defense. Back there getting a head on it was Tony Whelan. And now RIJSBERGEN with it to Marinho to Beckenbauer. Now you've got Carlos Alberto, who boots it into the middle, and the striker defense trying to regroup quickly, and there's a collision and a whistle.
BOGICEVIC given a pretty good shot by Maurice Whittle, and there'll be a direct kick, a very dangerous situation with all the stars that the Cosmos have right at the top of the penalty box. And we can possibly look for Beckenbauer to try and bend it around the wall, although he has all kinds of tricks.
VLADISLAV BOGICEVIC, and there you saw the shot by Marinho, knocked away by the striker defense. And now you'll see Joe Canaglia to Marinho, and they lose it. Ray Hudson comes out with it. Great defense by the Fort Lauderdale Strikers as Canaglia appeared to have a sure shot at MAUSSER, and he couldn't get it away. Now Georgie Best with it. To Kubias, back to Best, and there are two of the great names in the international world of soccer. The Cosmos now in the attack. Marinho chips it in. Canaglia with it. There you see Fogarty knocking it away. The Cosmos again on the far side. Dennis TUEART tries to boot it in. The striker defense trying to clear it out of there. Beckenbauer to Marinho, shot right into MAUSSER. Oh, did they work it around, and Marinho with it. Back at Giants Stadium, the New York Cosmos nothing, the Fort Lauderdale Strikers nothing. About 35 minutes to play in this first half. George Best with it for the Fort Lauderdale Strikers. Bestie has it knocked away by Ricky Davis, and the ball is going to roll almost over the touchline, but saved nicely over there by the New York Cosmos, and up the field they come. Now there's some strong marking going on. As a matter of fact, Maurice Whittle getting a pretty good shot there into RIJSBERGEN. And the New York Cosmos get the ball, and on the attack they come. TUEART trying to get the ball in the middle, and they can't get it to him. RIJSBERGEN, or Ricky Davis, I should say, trying to get that ball into him, and he just couldn't quite get it in there. Striker defense taking over again. You know, Bill, I guess it's sort of a moral victory for the Strikers to be able to keep things tight here in the early going, because that has not been the case the last few trips they've made up here.
Well, the Strikers have fallen into the trap many times of trying to take the game to the Cosmos instead of just relaxing and trying to push the ball around. And what happens is you get so excited, you push forward, next thing you know the Cosmos sit back and counter on you. It's 1 or 2-0 in front of 70,000 people, and then you've got all kinds of problems.
We got a foul down there, and the Strikers with a free kick, and over it goes to George Best. Best, he feeds it in. That's Terry Park with it. Park trying to get something going. Ray Hudson boots it away. And it'll go over the touchline. It'll be a throw-in for the Fort Lauderdale Strikers. The announcers and commentators of this program have been selected for and have been hired by the Fort Lauderdale Strikers. Now Bobby Korish will do the honors of the throw-in. And he fires it in. Kubias with a head on it. Back to Korish. They bring it back out to COLIN Fowles. Still working within the Cosmos 35-yard line. There you see a little give and go trying to work there between Kubias and Korish. They don't get away with it, and the Cosmos come up the field. Dennis TUEART, and he can fly with that ball. Look at the guy with the moves. Feeds it inside for CHINAGLIA. CHINAGLIA trying to get the shot away. He couldn't do it. Marked tightly by Tony WHELAN. Great defense by WHELAN down there on GIORGIO CHINAGLIA. CHINAGLIA, another big guy, Bill.
I'll tell you, between CHINAGLIA and TUEART, there was 34 goals for CHINAGLIA last year, 10 goals for TUEART, but 12 assists for TUEART. And those two know how to work together, and they are dangerous in the penalty box.
COLIN Fowles, long chip ahead for David Irving, who is playing his first game for the Strikers in quite a while after sitting out with a hamstring injury, and it's great to see David back in the game. Now the Cosmos with it. This is SENINHO to Beckenbauer, and Beckenbauer hits it back to Eskandarian. They got 3 guys in this team with just one name. That's what I call class. SENINHO, MARINHO, and Eskandarian. Now Kubias takes it away for the Strikers, and George Best with it. Best trying to go for Kubias on the far side. Kubias, if he can get it, he can't. The Cosmos defense doing a great job. Carlos Alberto, number 5 for the New York Cosmos. What a great defensive job he did on Nanny Kubias. And if when Kubias gets the ball in that close, he can be dangerous. He is the Strikers' leading scorer this season. Franz Beckenbauer working with it in midfield. They go for Bogicevic. VLADISLAV Bogicevic chips. Now you'll see Dennis TUEART working with it. TUEART to MARINHO, to Beckenbauer, to CHINAGLIA. Holy cow, was he open. He tried to go into the upper right-hand corner of the nets, and believe me, Arnie MAUSSER was helpless. When you get Giorgio CHINAGLIA that wide open, that close, there's not much a goalie can do.
At that time, Fogarty stepped up to try and pull an offside trap to catch the Cosmos offsides. CHINAGLIA really draws a fine line to keep that tight and stay on sides, and according to Fogarty, he was offside, but it was too close to call, and the linesman said it was good, and it almost burned the Strikers.
Boy, he narrowly missed that. I mean by inches. And now Arnie MAUSSER with a goal kick. 31 minutes and 10 seconds left to play in the first half, and MAUSSER boots it up, and Kubias goes to Best. Best, a little give and go to Kubias, and Kubias racing into the far corner to try to gain possession for the Strikers. Now he looks for someone to cross that ball to in the middle, and that's David Irving with it to Best, and Irving now trying to work it free, and he can't do it. And out of there comes Bogicevic with it. Bogicevic drops it back to Alberto, who clears it up to MARINHO, who goes back to Bogicevic, and now to Dennis TUEART, the man they like to go to. Now to Beckenbauer at midfield. Beckenbauer on the far side. This is SENINHO. Watch SENINHO working with it. Marked closely there by COLIN Fowles. A nifty move. And now it's taken away by Tony WHELAN. SENINHO trying to go to CHINAGLIA with it, standing dead in front of Arnie MAUSSER. He couldn't do it as Maurice Whittle stepped in to take possession, intercept that pass. And now WHELAN working with it, and the Fort Lauderdale Strikers come up over midfield. Here's Kubias. Kubias, left side to Georgie Best. Ray Hudson running ahead of him. Best now gets into the middle. Look at Best work his magic. Georgie Best, one of the fine players in the world, has it taken away, and Beckenbauer comes out. Nothing. We are scoreless. 30 minutes to play here in the first half. And those of you who may be new to the game of soccer, you play 2 45-minute halves, and of course the clock is continuous with the exception of injuries. which we have had one of with Ariel Yassin. And now the Cosmos come up the field. Here is SENINHO going far side. That's Dennis TUEART, and now we have an offsides call. And now with the quick pause on the field, we'll be back with more Soccer 79 in a moment.
Yeah.
Mike's a hot speaker. Yeah, guys, let's start looking for the Lipton offensive defensive players. Set that thing up as Herbie explained it to you before. We'll get that mentioned when we come back. Back.
The Fort Lauderdale Strikers blunting another New York Cosmos attempt with a fine defense. And now the Strikers regaining possession. And throughout this game, we'll be looking for an offensive and defensive player of the game. A little bit more about that a little later. It'll be the Lipton T offensive and defensive player of the game.
You people at home may want to try and pick who you feel might be the best player for either team, offensive and defensively. See if Chuck and I are doing our homework.
Oh, a header by Beckenbauer. He tried to head it out front to Chinaglia. Chinaglia tried to head it in, but Mausser doing a good job in that goal. And another thing, for those of you who may be new, the goal, while it may look relatively small on your television screen, that thing is actually 24 feet wide. It's probably wider than the room you're sitting in watching this game right now.
And 8 feet tall, so there's quite a bit of area to protect.
Number 2, NASL on channel 10.
Little foul out at midfield in the possession. Here's George Best with it.
Okay, don't forget Channel 10 will also be bringing you some other exciting North American Soccer League action this season. And look at this lineup. Tampa Bay and the Cosmos. What an opener. Vancouver, who was in the playoffs last year. Minnesota, who gave the Cosmos a scare. New England and New York, once again a toughie. Chicago at Detroit, an excellent game. LA at Washington, and the Dips are playing some great soccer.
And the New York Cosmos also playing some great soccer. They are unbeaten this year. They have had 2 close scares, and here is Chinaglia with it. And boy, when he gets it there, he can be dangerous. There's a shot by Chinaglia, and Mausser again right on the button. Giorgio Chinaglia, Bill, is getting open right in the middle, and they seem to be getting the ball to him.
Well, Chinaglia has that knack to get there, and he knows where to find the ball. He knows how to put it in the goal. But let's point something out here with the strikers. Cabillas and Ricky Davis have been the 2 matchups, and if that continues, I think Cabillas can definitely exploit the American who does not have the speed he does. And that's where all the strikers' offensive punch came from, out of that left side. If they can continue to do it, it could look good. Cabillas with the ball.
Cabillas to Irving, and there's a shot by David Irving that's wide to the left. And Ariel Yassin calmly strides out to pick it up. This field, incidentally, as you can probably well tell on your screen, is an artificial surface, unlike that of Lockhart Stadium that the Strikers are used to practicing on and playing on. Last week, however, they did practice at the University of Miami at Mark Light Field, thanks to fine cooperation of the University of Miami Athletic Department and Ron Frazier, the head baseball coach. So they did get a chance to get somewhat accustomed to the artificial surface. And, of course, the strike delayed that a bit, but the players did come back in toward the end of the week and did get in a couple of days. Yassin now scooping the ball up, and he'll get a kick here for the New York Cosmos. Fires it over on the left side, and running over to retrieve it is Vladislav Bogicevic. Why don't you think they like this guy, Bill?
Well, I think they complain about some of his antics on the field as well as his work rate. He's not one of those hustler type of player. He's more of a physical showman, but I'll tell you, he has a lot of assists throughout the year, and the fans have just been on his case for the last year. It's tough to say why they decide to turn on a player sometimes.
Another thing that you might be aware of as we get into this game, the Cosmos, while they have not been beaten this year, and they are 3-0 to the Fort Lauderdale Strikers 2-2 record, we might point out that they have been extended to shootouts twice, and they won their first game by simply a 1-0 margin. So they have not been awesome this year, despite the fact that they have the collection of superstars that they do possess on this roster.
Let's see if Morris Whittle is going to just crank up on this. Here's a great shot, and let's see if Mo Whittle will just run up to it. Number 2 on the left side of your screen. He
Boy,
does.
Whittle with a thunder boot, and Yassine diving to bat it away, and over the goal line, it'll be a corner kick for the Fort Lauderdale Strikers. Those of you might be interested in knowing Maurice Whittle, we call him Thunderboot, and what a clout he has. We have clocked with a radar gun that the police use. We have clocked his kick at just about 70 miles per hour, and that's firing that soccer ball in there. Yassine knocking it out there that time. And there's the corner kick, and Yassine again going up. Apparently he was not discouraged by the injury he suffered a while ago in a similar situation. He goes up and takes it away, and up the field come the New York Cosmos. Here's Dennis TUEART with it. TUEART and Colin Fowles trying to overtake him there. Now they go to SENINHO on the left side. SENINHO drops it back, Franz Beckenbauer of Mayern-Munich, and of course that'll be the home of a gentleman that'll be joining the Fort Lauderdale Strikers soon. MARINHO with a long kick sails up into the crowd. So it'll be a goal kick for Arnie Mausser. That, of course, being Gerd the Bomber Mueller, who will join the Fort Lauderdale Strikers next week when the Strikers host the Tampa Bay Rowdies.
We're going to try and get an update on that. See if we can talk to Bo Rogers at halftime so that many of you people in the South Florida area will have a chance to watch Gerd Mueller work out. And, of course, when the game against Tampa next Saturday night at Fort Lauderdale.
Bill, what effect? This field is crested. That is, it is turtleback for drainage, to aid in drainage. And here's George Best with it, and I'll get back to you, Bill. And Bestie fires his shot, and Yassine stops the ball just wide. I don't believe that would have gone in any way. The referee signals play on, despite David Irving there pleading for a foul. They bring it up to Beckenbauer. Beckenbauer trying to outrace Colin Fowles, and Beckenbauer loses possession, trying to get by Fowles and WHELAN. Mausser comes out with it and scoops it over, and that'll be Mo Whittle with it. Check that, make that Ken Fogarty. Bill, I was going to ask you, what effect does a crested field like this have?
Well, I don't think it'll have a real big effect because the ball's moving quite rapidly, and you don't see, and it's a perfectly flat surface, even though it is crested, but I mean true surface, I should say. So I don't think it'll have any big effect.
Boy, look at those moves. Whittle takes it away, and Beckenbauer regains possession. He chips it ahead for CHINAGLIA, and Fogarty right there. Fogarty boots it up into the stands, and now we'll have to wait and see if the linesman, well, they're going to give a corner kick for the New York Cosmos. Check that, make it a throw-in. It'll be a throw-in. So it did not get over the side before it was booted out of there by Fogarty. I thought it perhaps got over the goal line, which it did not. TUEART with a shot, and again, Arnie Mausser diving to keep that ball out of there. A corner kick for the New York Cosmos coming up. And now let's see what they do with it, Bill.
That ball was tough. They're going to come outside right to Eskandarian and maybe have him have a shot.
Blocked nicely in there, Colin Fowles.
Looking for a commercial opportunity. I'll let you know when.
And now Arnie Mausser going to bring it out for the Strikers.
The Cosmos have so many guys that can score and so many potent scorers. As you saw, Dennis TUEART just cranked that ball with his left foot at the top of the penalty box and dropped right in front of Arnie Mausser, which makes a tough pickup, and he had to give them the corner kick.
How discouraging is it to the New York Cosmos knowing a team that they have beaten 7-0 and 8-3 up here, and they've gone now better than half of the first half, better than a quarter of the game, and they've not been able to get anything in. There's Georgie Best with a shot that Errol Yassine stops.
That's two great shots by George Best.
And now Cubias regaining possession to Irving, trying to give and go back to Cubias, and it's taken away by the Cosmos, and Yassine fires it out, and Dennis TUEART will try to get it going here for the New York Cosmos. He chips it ahead, and Beckenbauer with it. Beckenbauer to SENINHO, and it goes in, knocked in by Maurice Whittle of the Strikers to Arnie Mausser, and Mausser distributes it out there to Ken Fogarty.
Cosmo fans a little upset with the lackluster play of the Cosmos, but the Strikers just made a mistake.
Maurice losing possession. He backheels it to Dennis TUEART, but taken away nicely by Colin Fowles. Colin playing a fine game over on the left side. Now they go over to Terry Park. Strikers trying everything. They've gone right side, left side, and up the middle, and so far they haven't had any success once they get inside the penalty area. But Maurice Whittle now with it, waiting patiently, and George Best at midfield.
Waiting impatiently. He wanted that ball quickly. He wants to get things started and get it distributed.
Best chips it into the penalty area. Nobody's home, and Yassine comes away with it. Errol Yassine, he is a Turkish native, a Turkey native, I should say, and he has a shoe store here in New York that he operates during the off-season. Eskandarian working with it now. There you see Bogicevic. Back to Eskandarian. He chips it into the penalty area, and there you see Chinaglia racing with Fogarty, and the ball goes over the goal line. And they're going to call a corner kick for the New York Cosmos. A corner kick for the New York Cosmos. So here is Dennis TUEART to do the honors.
They're going to look for Bogicevic just cutting into that near post.
TUEART waiting patiently. He's in no hurry. Clock continues to run, right? Chips it in, and too far, and it's going to go almost, and it does go over the goal line. So it'll be a goal kick for the Fort Lauderdale Strikers. We are scoreless in the first half, and we'll have more Soccer 79 in just a moment. Jack?
Yes.
I
hear you. Tell Herbie what you want, and then I'll come back to you. You tell Herbie what you want, and then I'll talk to you after.
I saw it was a corner kick. I knew he didn't want to go at a corner kick. That's why. Yeah.
Time coming out, right? Look at the time coming out.
Stand by about that.
Stand by.
We're back.
18 minutes about or so, 18 minutes and a couple of seconds, give or take there, a few seconds to go here in the first half. Still scoreless. The New York Cosmos and the Fort Lauderdale Strikers from Giant Stadium in Rutherford, New Jersey, here in the Meadowlands, and it's a great day for soccer. We started out a little overcast, but now the sun is out, and I would say temperatures probably in the low 70s. And a big crowd. As a matter of fact, Krikor Upremian, the older brother of Dolphin place kicker Garo Upremian, who's the general manager of the Cosmos, dropped by earlier. And look at this. Here's TUEART firing and scoring. I take
TUEART
check
with
this.
goal.
That's MARINHO with the score.
Oh, it
MARINHO.
was Marinho, yes. TUEART, Marinho, and Bogicevic just hanging in the middle there, and the Strikers sort of looked at themselves as if they expected a foul, and one of those garbage type of goals, as they would call it in soccer, but you've got to give the Cosmos credit. They were there when they put it in the net when they needed to.
Was it Mourinho or Trudeau got the goal?
We're going to have to wait for an official ruling on that goal score, as both Marinho and TUEART were in that scrap, and I thought it was TUEART, but we're going to have to wait.
It looked like TUEART on the initial kick, but he didn't react to me like he got the goal. That's why I said perhaps Marinho had it. We'll wait and see exactly who they do give it to. It was tough to tell from here. Maurice Whittle now, and the Strikers down 1-0. Here's Tony Whelan working with it. 16 minutes and a half to play in the first half.
Good ball coming down to Ray Hudson.
Ray Hudson over on the far side, chips it in, and David Irving out to George Best. George Best working with it into the penalty area. Best with 4 guys on him. Now chips it over. Here's Ray Hudson with a shot, but it's cleared away by Carlos Alberto.
Strikers coming right back into this, Chuck, and Ray Hudson has been wide open on the right.
And there you see a bicycle. Marinho with a bicycle shot over on the far side. It goes over the touchline, out of bounds. It'll be a throw-in for the Strikers. And now a free kick.
And they're going to give that goal to Marinho with an assist to Bogicevic. 27-23 elapsed. And 1-0. Strikers now behind 15 minutes and 35 seconds.
Bill, I was a lot like you. I, too, thought TUEART had originally scored the goal, but like I said, he did not react that way, and they have now, in fact, given it to Marinho. So Marinho with the goal for the New York Cosmos. We have a halftime score in the North American Soccer League for you. Minnesota and Toronto tied at 2. That is at the half. Carlos Alberto here with it for the Cosmos. Chips it way ahead, and that'll be too far, and Colin Fowles will take possession for the Fort Lauderdale Strikers. George Best in the Cosmos territory over the 35-yard line with it now, and Best looking to set something up. Best working his magic there on Carlos Alberto, and now over to Korish, back to Best. The Cosmos seem to be regrouping very well on defense once the strikers start to mount a threat, an offensive attack of any sort. And there you see a great example. The Cosmos come away with it, and here's Marinho, already with 1 goal under his belt. I'm sure he'd like to add another one at this point. Here's Fowles, taking possession for the strikers. Out at midfield, that's Terry Park.
Well, the thing about the Cosmos is they lay back and they just collapse into their own defensive third, and then they counter by coming out of that tight defense and knocking it up to CHINAGLIA or TUEART, who have the speed and they have plenty of room then, and they can move and take that defender on and cause the problems.
Carlos Alberto just knocked the ball out over the goal line. It'll be a corner kick for the Fort Lauderdale Strikers, and George Best will go over, and he'll chip it somewhere into the midfield area. Let's see if he goes high or low with it and goes for that near post perhaps. Into Whelan, who's posted right there, and hits the top
post,
of the bar and comes out, still in play. Running over to get it is RIJSBERGEN, Wim RIJSBERGEN. Irving and RIJSBERGEN, and now Cubias over there, and they all tangle up, and let's see how the official rules.
Going to call pushing on RIJSBERGEN.
So it'll be a free kick here for the Fort Lauderdale Strikers. A corner kick, and Cubias will take it. Cubias chips it in, going high, David Irving, and the ball is loose and now cleared out. Cleared out nicely by RIJSBERGEN. Fogarty regaining possession for the Strikers. And now the Cosmos try to come out with it. Fouls back over to the right side. That's Nene Cubias, the Peruvian Pele, they call him. And what moves that young man has. Park with a long shot wide to the left. And that'll be a goal kick for the New York Cosmos. We'll have more Soccer 79 in just a moment.
Assistant ball number 8, BOGICEVIC. Time to go, 27-23 of the match. MARINHO is first, NASL goal. RIJSBERGEN.
About 10 seconds, guys. Stand by. Second chance I get, I'm going to throw up the strikers on channel 10 for you, and I'll let you know when it's coming. It will be promo number 4. We're back.
New York Cosmos 1, Fort Lauderdale Strikers nothing. 12 minutes to play in the first half. And David Irving, all alone, down and dangerously in Cosmos territory, had the ball, and he was just held by Carlos Alberto, who's now pleading with the official, but there was no question about that. The Strikers are going to have a free kick.
Well, I'll tell you, the Strikers have outshot the Cosmos, and we have a good opportunity here once again to see Mo Whittle's shot on goal, as I'm sure he's going to crank up. Okay, here's a list of those games again on Channel 10, your ABC affiliate in Miami, in the South Florida area, and you'll see these games. I'm sorry, we're going to have the Strikers on Channel 10. And we've got Minnesota, Houston, Tampa, California, and New England. Some excellent games, some great crowds like you're seeing here today, and some more good soccer.
Great shot of the front wall there that's being formed by the Cosmos. See George Best looking at it, but also standing back there, Thunderboot Maurice Whittle. Alberto and the official still talking things over. Alberto getting a little aid. Apparently he got bumped in the nose there, I think by David Irving's head as they were kind of tangling, but there was no doubt that Alberto was just trying desperately to hold him. Look at this. George Best chips it in. David Irving scores! David Irving scores! A great play. George Best chipped it in for Ray Hudson. Hudson laid it back. And there was David Irving playing in his first game after coming off an injury. And look at that man. He is a very happy young man. David Irving firing that goal past Errol Yassin.
Well, there's another one of Ron Newman's brilliant plays. Dave Chadwick and Ron Newman work on these dead ball situations. George Best saw the opportunity, flicked it over the wall. Ray Hudson just touched the ball to Irving. Irving just nailed it in its tracks and deflected off of a Cosmo defender. But Irving putting a lot of action onto the ball. A goal, what a goal. 1-1, and we have a ball game, Chuck.
Well, it's obvious that the Strikers do not intend to let this one turn out to be the route that the past two appearances here at Giant Stadium have turned into. There's Fogarty taking it away from the Cosmos, and Nene Cubias. Cubias very fast, very quick with the ball. He brings it out. Ray Hudson streaking up the left side. Hudson keeps the ball in play, saves it from going over the touchline. Now chips it in for Irving again. Irving battling down there with RIJSBERGEN, Willem RIJSBERGEN, the Dutch defender, recently joining the New York Cosmos. Interestingly enough, he played in his first ever shootout 2 weeks ago, and then just a week ago scored the winning goal in a shootout for the New York Cosmos as they beat the Atlanta Chiefs 3-2. RIJSBERGEN, of course, playing in the international game of soccer where they do not have shootouts, but of course here in the North American Soccer League, should games end tied, you have 2 7.5-minute period overtimes, then you go into a shootout. Now we've got a foul at midfield. There was some pushing out there, and the Strikers are going to get it.
That was a good call by the referee. Dennis TUEART was definitely playing the man and not the ball. They caught it, and the Strikers get a free kick.
Colin Fowles chipping it into Terry Park, and Park on a give and go to David Irving. He can't beat Carlos Alberto, though. Alberto's there to take it away, but Korish regaining possession. This is Bobby Korish for the Strikers, and he brings it back out to Colin Fowles, and Colin says, let's set something up, guys. Let me give you the exact time of the 2 goals that we've had so far as Fogarty wallops it way to the far side, and the Cosmos take possession. Marinho from Bogicevic, a time of 27:23 for the Cosmos, but then David Irving with assist from George Best and Ray Hudson at a time of 33:05 of the first half, and we are tied at 1 with 9 minutes and 30 seconds to play here in the first half. Dennis TUEART, he goes to Marinho. Marinho with the only goal for the New York Cosmos. Eskandarian, the new player for the Cosmos, making his Giant Stadium debut today. They chip it into the penalty area, and there's going to be offsides call. Offsides call as they chip it into Giorgio Canaglia. Briefly, Bill, can you explain the offside rule?
Well, basically, very simply, you must have either the ball between you and the goal or 2 defenders, one being generally the goalkeeper and the other one being a defender. That time he only had the goalkeeper between he and the goal, and Fogarty was alongside of him. So that's your basic offside rule. 2 men must be between you and the goal.
Well, I was hoping that perhaps most of the fans got to see the pregame special that we aired at 2 o'clock. Strikers Soccer 79 and Ron Newman, of course, did a great job of explaining the various instances that can occur with offsides. It is perhaps, I guess, the most difficult rule for newcomers to the game of soccer to understand. Here's Colin Fowles with it to Ray Hudson, and Ray Hudson being marked very tightly there by VLADISLAV Bogicevic. David Irving has it taken away, and Dennis TUEART brings it up for the Cosmos. TUEART at midfield, crosses it over to Eskandarian. Eskandarian to the far side. That's Ricky Davis with it. Now they bring it into the midfield area. Marinho taking possession. And the Striker defense dropped back very nicely now. And now they take it away. Terry Park losing it back, though, to Marinho. Marinho over on the far side. Eskandarian. Eskandarian brings it into TUEART. TUEART tries to kind of pop it over his head. He can't get away with it, and the Strikers clear it out. The defense doing an excellent job that chance. 7 minutes and 30 seconds or so, as you can see on your screen, left in this first half. And now the Cosmos pleading for a penalty. No such call, says the official, as he says play on. And we'll have more Soccer 79 in just a moment.
Mike's a hot about 10 seconds. Stand by. Let's go back.
Terry Park for the Fort Lauderdale Strikers has it taken away by SENINHO. Now they go to Canaglia, who takes it over to TUEART. Cosmos would love to get another goal in here just before intermission. We've got about 6 minutes to play in the first half. Bill, this game going pretty much the way you expected?
Well, I'm impressed with the strikers staying within their game plan. They're not flustered. When the goal was scored against them, they came right out, just took the game straight to them again. Cosmos with another opportunity, and Colin Fowles has to clear it out to get it out of the way.
Colin Fowles doing an excellent job that time to thwart that Cosmos chance.
Okay, don't forget, Channel 10 will be traveling with the Strikers up to North Country on May 20th to bring you live coverage. Strikers and the Minnesota Kicks. That ought to be a great game with about 45,000 to attend those games.
Maurice Whittle and Dennis TUEART kind of mixing it up there in the penalty area. And there's a whistle. Let's see exactly what the official... I think they're going to rule it'll be a goal kick for Arnie Mausser. That's what it'll be. Arnie Mausser will distribute it out of there and try to get something going here for the Fort Lauderdale Strikers, who would also love to get a goal in here before intermission. Take my word for that. 5 minutes to play in the first half. Maurice Whittle with it now.
Well, there's a 1-1 tie possibly going into the halftime break. The Strikers could really count it as a moral victory. You've got some of the Cosmos now talking amongst each other, a little bit of bickering. CHINAGLIA very frustrated with Ken Fogarty just tracking him all the way. And of course the fans, all 60 to 65,000 I would say today, starting to get a bit impatient.
And you can hear the applause as the fans do in fact try to get the Cosmos fired up. Marinho with it right at the midfield mark. Chips it across the field. And that's Carlos Alberto. Alberto feeds it into TUEART. TUEART a little give and go there to BOGICEVIC. To the inside to CHINAGLIA. CHINAGLIA loses it, and Terry Park brings it out for the Strikers. And now listen to these fans get on these guys. I tell you, they got some heavy salaries out there, and they want to see some heavy scoring, and they're not getting that right now.
Well, right now the pressure's on the Cosmos. The fans want to see action. They want to see a 7 or 8 to nothing game like they did last year, which I doubt if they will. And they want to see action. It's their home opener. They want to see results, and they're starting to get a bit impatient.
Ray Hudson chipping it in there to Nene Cubillas. Teofilio Cubillas. To Ray Hudson, and Hudson trying to run with Carlos Alberto, and now he's pleading with the official. And the official signals play on. Nobody likes the official. Everybody pleads for those penalties when they get shoved inside that penalty area. Boy, those are nice free kicks, too, when you can get one. Here's Korish with it. Korish losing it out, and that's Marinho. SENINHO now. Working across midfield. SENINHO, a little 3-on-2. They go in. Beckenbauer. SENINHO! Mausser finally falls on it. Mausser caught out of position as he came out to try to block SENINHO. The ball was rolling free. Essentially, Colin Fowles was there, but that was about it. Colin knocked it down long enough for Arnie Mausser to fall on it and save another, what seemed to be sure, New York Cosmos goal at that point. Maurice Whittle now over to Tony Whelan, and Whelan trying to bring it up, and the Fort Lauderdale Strikers would like to regroup and get something going. Terry Park at midfield. Marked closely over there by BOGICEVIC. Now David Irving hustling forward, and Ray Hudson comes away with it at midfield, and the Strikers take it back. Bring it over on the near side, and this will be Colin Fowles. Carlos Alberto is passed just wide for Bobby Korish. He couldn't quite get it. Cosmos will bring it up. This is Marinho with it, far side. He has the New York Cosmos goal. David Irving with the goal for the Fort Lauderdale Strikers. Beckenbauer with it now at midfield. Cubillas marking on him, trying to get the ball away from him. Can't do it. Carlos Alberto. Alberto chips it in, and running hard is BOGICEVIC. He can't get to it, and the ball goes over the goal line. It will be a goal kick for Arnie Mausser. 2 minutes to play in the first half. A goal kick for the Fort Lauderdale Strikers goalie, Arnie Mausser.
Well, I've been very impressed with the way the Strikers handled themselves after the first goal. I think the Cosmos sort of figured, well, we've opened the door, we're just going to sit back. Strikers came at them, got their goal, are still coming at the Cosmos, and I think the Cosmos are very happy to go in with a 1-1 tie at halftime.
Watch this guy, Nene Cubillas, feeding it into Ray Hudson. Hudson now with a shot. Holy cow, stopped by Yassine Beckenbauer, regaining possession for the Cosmos. A great move that time. Cubillas to Hudson. Hudson beat his man. He had the shot, but Yassine was equal to the task, diving nicely to stop that one. The Strikers with an excellent opportunity, but Yassine making the save.
There's been a lot of open space for the strikers down in their offensive third of the field. Hudson's been open quite a few times. Irving, you've seen Parks out to the right on several opportunities. And these types of things the Cosmos will get burned on. Very lucky on Hudson's shot. That was a great shot by Ray and a good save by Yashin.
Corner kick for the Cosmos. They bring it in, and MARINHO almost bounced one in there. MARINHO with a header that hit right about in front of the goal area, almost bounced up into the top of the net, just over the top. It'll be a goal kick for Arnie MAUSSER. These fans really enjoying this game, and a very nice afternoon here in the Meadowlands. Hope you're enjoying this game.
Coming up to about 30 seconds remaining in the first half.
Carlos Alberto with it. Down inside the 30-second mark. Here's MARINHO chipping it long and running over on the far side. The Cosmos have it taken away. That's George Best with it, and Best lets it almost get away from him and then boots it out over the touchline. It'll be a throw-in for the Cosmos. 12 seconds, 11 seconds, and the Cosmos better quickly get something going here. It'll be too late. Here's the throw-in. Beckenbauer with it outside. They take it over on the far side, and there is the end of the first half as MAUSSER knocks it away. The first half comes to an end with the score. The Strikers won and the Cosmos won. Back for halftime activities after this.
Coming up after this. We're going to go for about a minute and a half then.
About a minute and a half.
Then you're going to give me that.
Give you one of these and lick it out.
New Jersey Monthly Magazine presents Frisbee with the Cosmos.
A couple of minutes.
We'll check you this get out great.
World Frisbee Freestyle Champions from 1976 to 1977. New Jersey's own Jens and Erwin Velasquez. Give a big hand. Jens and Erwin won the 1977 World Frisbee Championship in Pasadena, California.
Test, test.
1977 Toronto, 1977 Philadelphia, 1977 New York State, 1978 Minnesota Freestyle Frisbee Championships.
No rundown clock. 45 minutes ago, man. How much? 50. Stand by, please.
Stand by, guys.
With the score 1-1 at halftime, Cosmos and Fort Lauderdale Strikers, a familiar face to you.
And offsides, the Strikers have been offsides one time. The Cosmos have yet to be offsides. Although I think that's incorrect. I think the Cosmos were offsides. I remember Fogarty pulling a trap play down there.
That's right. We've got no changes for either team as the kickoff begins, and the Strikers moving from your right to the left.
George Best drops it back, and here you see Tony Whelan. Whelan over to Maurice Whittle. Be interesting to see how the Strikers play it here in the second half. They knock it back into Arnie MAUSSER. Will they come out and try to attack and get a quick goal, or perhaps lay back and play patiently as they did in the first half? Whittle with it. Chips it way into the front part of the 35-yard area. David Irving heads it out, and there's a whistle and a foul. It'll be a free kick for the Fort Lauderdale Strikers, and Ray Hudson sets it down, and Maurice Whittle eyeing the ball with George Best.
RIJSBERGEN has been marking David Irving very tightly, and that time RIJSBERGEN was not happy with the call, feeling that he touched the ball before he got on top of Dave Irving.
Two very tough players, RIJSBERGEN and David Irving, so you can expect to see some exchanges between those two throughout the day. We've already seen a couple, and I'm sure we'll see some more. Bogicevic over to Eskandarian. Eskandarian now here on the near side, and his thigh now tightly bandaged, his right thigh. Apparently he suffered some sort of a knee injury or a knee to that thigh area during the first half. SENINHO out to MARINHO. SENINHO and MARINHO. Now they go to Carlos Alberto. Alberto chips it in, and now it's cleared out. COLIN fouls, knocks it away, and there's a foul. A handball called. Excuse me, a handball called on the New York Cosmos, and the Strikers get possession. Here's Terry Park. Terry Park goes over on the far side. Park working with it. Korish also over there, running ahead of him. Here's Tony Whelan. Whelan just lays it back in George Best. Bestie trying to work some of his magic with the ball over on the right side. Look at the footwork. Chips it into Korish. Korish working over in the corner, and he loses it over the touchline. It'll be a throw-in for the New York Cosmos. Korish just barely losing control. The ball snuck over that touchline, just out of bounds, and the Cosmos get a throw-in.
The thing that makes the Cosmos run is their midfield and the way they control midfield or give up midfield. At this point, they're not controlling midfield like they like to, and that's why the Strikers are having so much success.
RIJSBERGEN chipping it ahead for MARINHO, who tries to fire SENINHO, rather. SENINHO firing one that just gets over the top of the goal. Over the goal line, it'll be a goal kick for ARNIE MAUSSER. That was a very nice play, though. As you saw, excellent view there of RIJSBERGEN chipping the ball ahead. SENINHO cut inside of the Striker defender and had the ball clear on MAUSSER, but just chipped it over the top of the goal, and the Strikers come away with it. Still 1-1. We are 42 minutes to go here in the second half. MAUSSER, incidentally, doing an excellent job for the Fort Lauderdale Strikers, as he has all season. Up to David Irving, and Irving and RIJSBERGEN colliding with it now, and the ball rolling free, picked up by Korish, controlled near midfield. Korish goes over on the right side, and they bring it back out to Park. George Best there. He'd like to take a whack at it, and Best he does. He works it back out, and it comes to Tony Whelan. Whelan chips it over to George Best. Best fires it downfield. Nobody home. Carlos Alberto chases after it. Ray Hudson also down there. And the referee signals play on, and out it comes to Cubillas, who's at midfield. He heads it in. There's David Irving, and he can't get it to Ray Hudson. And the ball rolls into the corner and brought out by the Cosmos.
Strikers totally surprised by that ball being chipped right in front of the penalty area. Washington got burned on the same deal at Washington.
Here's SENINHO. SENINHO racing with it. Tries to get it by Tony Whelan, and you better really be ready to play when you try to go against Tony Whelan. An excellent defender. He has played, with the exception of last week during the player strike, he has played in every Fort Lauderdale Striker game. Tony Whelan, just an excellent player. He took it away from SENINHO that time, and the Strikers now have it. Here's Park with it. Over to Korish, and Korish brings it back out to George Best. George Best with an assist on the Strikers' goal. It came in the first half. Here's Hudson into the penalty area to David Irving. Irving can't quite get a boot on it. But now here's Cubillas. Cubillas racing. The ball is free. There's no one in goal. Cubillas fires wide. Holy cow, Errol Yassin came out. He tried to tackle the ball. He couldn't come away with it. But Cubillas just wide left. We'll have more Soccer 79 in just a moment.
Distinguished to say something about.
No, they don't know we got it. No, I mean, we've never had it.
No straw. RIJSBERGEN.
Yeah, boy, about that.
Well, as you can see, we've got a little altercation going on the field. Wim RIJSBERGEN, the Dutch superstar who's recently joined the Cosmos, has just fell to both David Irving and George Best, and he has been yellow carded by the official. He looked to me like he stuck fingers in both of their eyes. There's the card.
Well,
Now it's a red card.
Good call by the official. RIJSBERGEN just hauled off and gave George Best a right jab to the nose, and I couldn't believe the official initially gave him a yellow card, gave him a red card. He should have been out of the game. There was no call for it. Little altercation between Irving and RIJSBERGEN on a tackle, and then he just hauled off. RIJSBERGEN just hauled off and nailed George Best.
At first I thought it was Ray Hudson that was going to get nailed. Hudson came running up on RIJSBERGEN as if to seek some sort of revenge. But then George Best was approaching, and I guess he selected Best over Hudson.
Well, this is going to really shed some light on this game, Chuck. With 10 men now playing for the Cosmos, there will be no substitution for RIJSBERGEN, and his inaugural game here at Cosmos Stadium has been marred by some physical play, which he has not been able to stay with.
And now we've got some debris being thrown on the field by some fans. I see an orange out there. Traditional in Nebraska when the Huskers think they're going to the Orange Bowl, but I'm not sure what the precedent here is at Giant Stadium for that. At any rate, I guess the fans slightly unhappy with that call. RIJSBERGEN still on the field. He has not left.
And assistant coach Ray Klavecka is coming out now to have a word with RIJSBERGEN. George Best is now telling the official everything that happened. First he hit me with a right, then a left, and they're going to make sure the referee knows that
what a bad guy William RIJSBERGEN is.
Yes, yes. But the important thing, all kidding aside, is RIJSBERGEN threw a punch. It wasn't called for, and he's out of the game.
Well, there's what you like to see. There's what you like to see, though. RIJSBERGEN going over to shake hands with David Irving. Apparently no bad feelings.
No, well, Irving's laughing all the way to the bank right now due to the fact that he's not going to be marked as tightly. RIJSBERGEN was right in his shorts, just marking him as tightly as possible. 10 versus 11, 10 Cosmos.
Well, here's every opportunity in the world now for the Fort Lauderdale Strikers. 38 minutes and 16 seconds to play. We have not yet started action. Ray Hudson trying to get a jump on things, but the official will let Ray know when that's okay to begin.
The player has to be completely out of the stadium as he is leaving right now, and now they're ready to play.
And he is gone. And those are part of the international rules, right?
Those are the international rules which the NASL follows pretty closely outside of the shootout and the 35-yard offside line.
Another interesting rule that they have is you play with the same ball. When the ball goes into the stands, you'll see them bring that ball back into play. If it goes up the tunnel here on either end of the stadium, they'll go up and get it and bring it back in. Just another part of the international rules.
They've always played with one ball, and they managed to just stay with that. And that's more of an old adage as opposed to some reasoning for that.
Bogicevic and Fogarty heads it out of there to Cubillas. Cubillas to Best. Best chips it over, and Tony Whelan chasing after it. Whelan on the far side. Korish now racing to get down and help out. Whelan sets it up to Terry Park. Park and Fogarty, two of the English players who have joined the Strikers during the offseason. Terry Park now right out front, fires a shot. Oh, Errol Yassin diving. He couldn't get to it, but the ball just wide. Just wide to the left. Yassin spending a lot of time on the ground diving after those Striker shots, but so far only one has found the mark.
Well, right now the Cosmos are going to try and play conservatively until they figure out how they're going to line themselves with 10 men. They'll probably give up the midfield and go with defenders and forwards, giving up the midfield situation. The only problem, I think, is that Ricky Davis, playing left fullback, is going to have some problems marking up Cubillas.
I've just been handed a note that I think I pretty well understood. William RIJSBERGEN has been ejected for violent conduct. That's the official word from the officials here in the press box. Time of ejection 50 minutes and 55 seconds. Now you see CHINAGLIA with it. CHINAGLIA, a good-sized player. To MARINHO. MARINHO with the Cosmos goal. Carlos Alberto. Alberto on the right side. Chips it down for Dennis TUEART. TUEART crosses the ball into the middle. Headed out by Tony Whelan. First by Fogarty and a shot by MARINHO that goes over the goal line. Off the wall, and it'll be a goal kick for the ARNIE Maussers. We'll be back with more Soccer 79 in a moment.
We're back.
Ray Hudson with the ball for the Fort Lauderdale Strikers in the midfield area. Losing it to Ricky Davis. And now Franz Beckenbauer comes up to take control. For those of you who may be new to the game of soccer, offensive strategy, now watch TUEART on the outside wing, a lot like hockey. In hockey, you center the puck. He may try to cross it. Try to get time up with someone punching in there. Well, he crosses the ball, but over the head of Giorgio CHINAGLIA, and it goes over the goal line. But very similar in strategy to those of you who may be familiar with the game of hockey but may be new to soccer. Take the ball down the wing, cross it into the middle, or as you center a puck in hockey, hope somebody can punch it in.
Many times when you're thinking, well, gee, the Cosmos only have 10 players and Strikers have 11, it should be a natural overmatch, if you would say. But many times you have a letdown by the Strikers, in this case, if it would happen, because they're saying, geez, they're only playing with 10 guys, very easily can win this, and you get caught napping. And as the Cosmos have been doing, they've been coming down and taking opportunities on goal, and you can't allow that. They've got to get back to that work rate, the pressure, and doing the things that they were doing when the Cosmos had 11 men.
Well, certainly this is a golden opportunity for the Fort Lauderdale Strikers now. If ever there was a chance for them to beat the Cosmos here at Giant Stadium, this has got to be it. 1-1. We are into the second half. William RIJSBERGEN, the Dutch star, has been ejected from the game for the Cosmos for violent conduct.
Watch out.
And watch out. Yassine comes out. Boy, he's done that twice. It almost cost him before, and he almost got burned again. Maurice Whittle with a shot that time, but it was blocked away, and the Cosmos come away with it. Here's MARINHO at midfield. MARINHO to TUEART. Again, I tell you, the Strikers are playing with 11 men. The New York Cosmos with 10 as RIJSBERGEN was ejected. Talking with Coach Ron Newman during the week, he did say, and very vociferously at that, I might add, that he expected the players who were on strike last week to make it up to him. The fact that they did not show up at Lockhart Stadium last Saturday night, and therefore the Washington Diplomats came away with a very easy 4-0 win over the Fort Lauderdale Strikers as the Strikers played with amateur fill-ins. He said during the week he expected these players who are now back off the strike to make it up to him. So here's the opportunity. The Cosmos with the ball at midfield. TUEART feeds it. That's Franz Beckenbauer from Bayern Munich. Now TUEART with it. TUEART doing some magic work over on that side, and he goes to SENINHO, who chips it into Beckenbauer. Back out to MARINHO, who fires high and wide. Boy, that was an excellent play, though, by Franz Beckenbauer. He took the chip from SENINHO on his chest, brought it right out in front of MARINHO, who was all alone, and MARINHO's shot was just high.
There's a case of the Cosmos coming down the left wing and then moving men to the right wing, changing the ball and having shots on goal. And here's a change of the ball. They're going to change the ball. I guess it might have been deflated against the wall at one time or another. So they're going to call us a liar today, Chuck, as we talk about how they only use one ball and then they change it on us.
That would be the case. Arnie MAUSSER bringing it out there. And now WHELAN takes it back into MAUSSER. I should probably go ahead and point out, as long as we are tied at 1 with about 32 minutes to play in the game, that should the game end tied, we'll go into 2 7.5-minute overtime periods, in which if either team scores, the game is automatically over. However, at the end of that 15-minute period, if the game is still tied, we go into the North American Soccer League shootout, perhaps one of the most exciting phases of sports in this country. It's really something to watch if you've never seen it. And now another orange has been thrown out on the field, and you can see it rolling right next to Nene Cubillas. Cubillas chips it into David Irving. Irving to Cubillas, back to Irving. Now they go to George Best. Best working with it, looking for someone to go to. Chips it over for David Irving, and he loses it to Carlos Alberto. Alberto comes away with it. Regaining possession, Maurice Whittle of the Strikers, and he loses it. MARINHO now. A long pass downfield. Colin Fowles comes away with it for the Strikers. Bobby Korish. Ray Hudson now.
I think Ray Hudson's played a very fine game here for the Strikers, and Ron Newman is just waiting for Ray to do his thing. He's really been very, very aggressive. He's had the opportunities, and he's made some opportunities. And I think, as we talked about earlier in the show, the Lipton Offensive and Defensive Player of the game. There will be 2 awards today. Ray Hudson has to be considered possibly for the offensive, as well as many of the other Strikers. I know one guy that will definitely not get it. That's Wim RIJSBERGEN. That makes our choice that much easier.
I think
he didn't show much defense for a right hand.
I thought that I think the rules say that you got to finish the game, and he won't be here to finish the game. Here's Tony Whelan to Cubillas, back to Whelan. Whelan now to Ray Hudson. Ray Hudson with a goal! A goal by Ray Hudson! A great shot. Errol Yassin diving. I think he barely got a hand on it, but Ray Hudson, a great shot. 2-1 for the Fort Lauderdale Strikers over the New York Cosmos.
30 minutes left in the game. Ray Hudson with a left foot shot just at the top of the penalty area to the outside. Yashin with no chance, and I'm starting to look like a prodigy son here. I just mentioned something about Ray Hudson being possible offensive player of the game. How did that go? What a shot by Ray Hudson. And this is the Strikers now with a 2-1 lead, 30 minutes left. They've just got to keep the pressure on the Cosmos. With 10 players, their conditioning has got to fade.
In case you were wondering, David Irving with the first goal, Ray Hudson with the second goal. Hudson, of course, had the assist on the first goal, but now the Strikers up 2-1, and they're trying to clear it out from the penalty area there in front of Arnie Mausser. I'm sure Mausser feeling like the whole game being played right in front of him, and he'd prefer to have it played in front of Errol Yassin, but right now the Strikers on the long end of a 2-1 count. The Cosmos, as we told you before, playing with 10 men now. Wilm RIJSBERGEN ejected from the game for violent conduct. And the Strikers in a great shape to come away with a win here at Giant Stadium, their first ever. And now it'll be a goal kick for Arnie Mausser of the Fort Lauderdale Strikers. We'll have more Soccer 79 in a moment.
Striker goal scored by number 4, Ray Hudson. Assisted by number 20, Cubillas. And number 6, Tony Whelan. Time to go, 59 minutes, 35 seconds remaining. For Hudson, his second goal this season.
Stand by. We're back.
2-1, Fort Lauderdale Strikers over the New York Cosmos, just under 28 minutes to play in this game. The Strikers now with a Ray Hudson goal here in the second half, taking the lead. Cosmos now on the attack, and they take it to Marinho at midfield, and Carlos Alberto works with it. Bill, the Strikers now definitely have to feel like their chance is right in front of them.
They have the opportunity. The game's in their lap right now. They've got to just stay with it, stay with the way they can play. Just keep antagonizing the Cosmos. Now they're getting a little violent. They're getting a little upset. The Cosmos are definitely a frustrated team, and they're not connecting with the type of plays and passes that they're accustomed to.
George Best working with it. Best outrunning Marinho. Look at this shot by Best, and Yassin comes over to knock it down and come away with it. He fires it down the field, and Franz Beckenbauer trapping it off his chest to Chinaglia. Chinaglia's header intended for TUEART is long, but Beckenbauer chips it to TUEART. TUEART is there. TUEART hits it. Colin fouls, lets it roll over the goal line, and now let's see. The official is going to rule a corner kick, so he says that Colin fouls touched it light. It will be a corner kick for the New York Cosmos.
June 23rd, a date you won't want to forget. The Tampa Bay Rowdies and the Strikers from Tampa Bay. You'll see that game also this Saturday at Fort Lauderdale, but the rematch at Tampa Bay on June 23rd, and Chuck and I will be there to give you some live action on Channel 10.
Well, the Cosmo is just blowing an excellent opportunity there. Carlos Alberto with it, and apparently he and TUEART got crossed up on their signals. Alberto apparently thought that TUEART was going to break to the outside. TUEART broke to the middle, and the ball goes over the goal line. It'll be a corner kick, or I'm sorry, check that. It'll be a goal kick for Arnie Mausser, the Strikers goalie. And Arnie's not going to be in any big hurry with it, that's for sure.
He's going to try and chew up all of that 26 minutes remaining in the game that he possibly can. The thing the Strikers can't do is slow down the pace. With 11 men, they can keep pushing the ball, keep the pace. Their condition, the heat factor's got to be in their benefit, even though it's probably pushed down into the 65 region now with the sun setting in the west, to coin a phrase. And Strikers have got to keep pushing.
Bill, I don't think that there's any doubt about it. If you're sitting here looking at the entire field as we can see it from here, you can definitely tell that the Cosmos players, that a large number of them are tired.
Well, fatigue tends to set in when you're frustrated and you find reasons for getting tired. Right now, the Strikers could care less. They don't care to be tired because they're winning. And when you're winning, that has a way of taking care of all those tiny bumps, bruises, and fatigue that you receive when you're down.
Again, the Striker defense doing a great job. Terry Park, and he's played a fine game today for the Fort Lauderdale Strikers. Here's Nene Cubillas. Cubillas, what a fine guy he is. If he can get a... Oh, David Irving with a header. Cubillas chipping it to Irving. Irving with a header, but Yassin with a save.
Cubillas was right there, saw David make that cut across the front of the penalty box. Irving just not able to get enough mustard on that ball to really put some pace past Yassin.
Hey, Yassin having his work cut out for him here. Now Ray Hudson with it, ahead to Cubillas. Look at Cubillas trip from behind. And the official's going to bring it back and give the Fort Lauderdale Strikers a free kick. No doubt about that one.
Well, Strikers will definitely take their time and set this shot up. Not only will they kill about a minute of play, but they'll make sure that Cubillas is okay and to make sure that they don't blow an opportunity here to really score another goal. Iskandarian, first game back, he's been suffering that leg injury. As Chuck mentioned, he had that groin or thigh muscle, whichever it is, taped up. And we've got the wall.
Boy, they're forming it pretty tightly there. It has to be 10 yards from the point
of
where the ball is placed.
Here we have a great shot. Let's see what happens as you see Cubillas and Mo Whittle and George Best lining up. George Best to move up.
They go over to Fogarty. Fogarty just lets it get by him. And they bring it back out, and this is Maurice Whittle. Now Whittle will take it over to Cubillas. And they survive that free kick attempt. There's Park into Cubillas. Cubillas running forward, chips it high, just high. Nene Cubillas with an excellent chip shot that looked for a brief second there as if it might drop in just over the head of Errol Yassin. Instead, it goes over the top of the bar, and the Cosmos come away with it.
That shows you the brilliance of Cubillas. You realize how much pressure, how many people are kicking at you, and here he is 8-9 yards away from the goal. He has the presence of mind to try and lift the ball over Yashin and dip it into the just under the bar. And a great opportunity for the Strikers. Cubillas showing just why he is a world-class player and why he helped Peru year after year.
He is the 5th all-time leading scorer in World Cup history. And now the Cosmos bringing it down, and it looks to me more and more like the Fort Lauderdale Strikers not only may be on their way to their 3rd win of the season and a 3-2 record, but it looks to me like the New York Cosmos may well be about to absorb their first loss of the year. Cosmos, the defending league champions, 3-0 on the season. And now here come the Cosmos again, and that was SENINHO trying to get by Ken Fogarty there to get a shot in, and he couldn't. The ball goes over the goal line. However, it's touched last by Fogarty. It'll be a corner kick for SENINHO. Well, watch how SENINHO will lob this ball into the middle, hoping that someone like Chinaglia could punch it in. However, Tony Whelan gets more of a head on it there than Chinaglia does, and out it comes for the Strikers, and the Cosmos regain possession. Now you got Ricky Davis at midfield, taken away nicely by George Best to Ray Hudson. Hudson now running with it at midfield to Best. George Best going left side to David Irving. Irving now marked tightly by Iskandarian. He feeds it in midfield to Ray Hudson to Cubillas. Cubillas with another foot on it, and Yassin with a save. Cubillas giving Errol Yassin all he can handle down there, but so far Yassin's been equal to it. Standing up nicely to Cubillas.
Strikers playing with all kinds of confidence up in that offensive part of their field. Cubillas looking good. Hudson just playing magic. George Best, David Irving, they're all playing with a lot of confidence, and it shows.
Marinho with a shot goes wide, goes over the goal line. A goal kick for Arnie MAUSSER. We'll be back with more Soccer 79 in just a moment.
Flags are hot, stand by.
MARINHO.
20 minutes to play. The Fort Lauderdale Strikers 2, the New York Cosmos 1. The Strikers now with the ball and trying to add a third goal. Of course, those of you who may be unfamiliar to North American Soccer League scoring, you not only win games with victories, but you also get points for goals up to 3. So far, the Strikers have 2 extra points. You get 6 for winning a game, and then 1 point for each goal up to 3. So the Strikers, should they add another goal, could come away with a maximum of 9 points today. 6 for the win, and a point each for each of 3 goals. Right now, they have 8 points if they can manage to hang on and win this game and pick up the 6 for the victory. The Cosmos with it into striker territory over the 35-yard line. That's Alberto to SENINHO. SENINHO chipping it in, and TUEART there trying for the header. And immediately the Cosmos pleading for a penalty. However, it will be a corner kick for the New York Cosmos. Arnie MAUSSER didn't like it. Giorgio CHINAGLIA trying to take the ball from him. I tell you, CHINAGLIA is a big guy, but Arnie MAUSSER is a large one too. MAUSSER stands about 6'3" in that goal, so he takes up plenty of room.
June 20th, our next televised soccer match from Minnesota.
May 20th.
I'm sorry, May 20th. June 9th is from Houston, and June 23rd from Tampa.
I just want to make sure that you and I show up there on the same day.
Yes, I don't want to be sitting around Minneapolis waiting for you all to arrive.
Not in June, anyway, right. And now the Cosmos and the Strikers trying to fight over it down there. TUEART coming away with it. TUEART feeds it into the middle there. And a shot by Ricky Davis. Boy, I tell you what, we haven't seen him fire one today, but he's really got a leg on him.
Well, Ricky Davis can crank the ball, but the thing now is you're seeing the Cosmos moving players up to try and take the offensive advantage. This also causes a defensive advantage, and that means that David Irving has been isolated on number 2, Iskandarian. You've got Cabillas, who has been floating behind Davis, and you have a numerical disadvantage on defense. So they're going to give up some defensive maneuvering to get some offensive maneuvering, and the Strikers could burn them another goal, and the game is over. I guarantee you that.
Ray Hudson to Terry Park. Certainly hope that those of you back in South Florida are enjoying this game as much as we are enjoying bringing it to you. An excellent soccer contest here this afternoon at Giant Stadium. Nene Cabillas running with it in the far corner. Cabillas loses it over the goal line, so it'll be a goal kick for Errol Yassin.
He tried to kick that ball off of Ricky Davis's leg in order to get a corner kick. Davis jumped and it rolled out of bounds.
Iskandarian feeds it into Carlos Alberto. Franz Beckenbauer, and I tell you what, you can watch Beckenbauer move on the field and you can just tell that he is certainly a world-class player. Franz Beckenbauer, a lot like Nene Cabillas, George Best. They stand out like all-state linebackers in a high school football game. They are conspicuous.
Well, we have Roy Wigamanson warming up on the striker sideline. I don't know if Coach Newman has spotted something, or maybe he's just trying to bring a fresh body in to keep that pressure at midfield or on defense.
You are allowed 3 substitutes in the North American Soccer League, 3 substitutions. And except when a player is ejected, and at that point, of course, you cannot come in with a substitute. You can come in with substitutes at 3 other opportunities during the games. Most coaches try to save at least one in case something were to happen to your goalie, because you would hate to have to drop a player back and use a non-goalie in goal. It'd be a very difficult situation. Here are the Strikers on attack. Ray Hudson at midfield. Hudson chips it across the field, and that's for Terry Park. Terry Park feeds it now for Maurice Whittle. Whittle bangs it into the middle. Over comes Bobby Korish, and now a whistle. And Bill, I think a point of interest, you were a goalie in the North American Soccer League. Offsides called on the Strikers on that. Why do the goalies dress differently from the rest of the players?
To allow the officials to identify immediately which one is the goalkeeper, because the goalkeeper is the only one allowed to use his hands within that 18 by 18 yard line area, 18 penalty box area. I'll get it here in a second. Why did I have a different jersey on? I'm trying to So it allows everyone on the field to know that he is allowed to use his hands and identifies the fact that he is the goalkeeper.
Here's SENINHO, right. Oh, CHINAGLIA with a header. And Arnie MAUSSER right there with his chest to take that ball and thwart that Cosmos chance. But an excellent play there. SENINHO to CHINAGLIA. CHINAGLIA with a header and MAUSSER stopping it. 2-1, the Strikers still leading.
Last year, that ball would have gone in. The Strikers are getting some breaks. CHINAGLIA very seldom misses a ball from 8 to 10 yards out like that. And the Strikers cannot get caught napping. Nico Badanzi, I can see Newman's trying to get some speed in right now. They're asking for a substitution. Nico Badanzi, Roy Rigomanson, and we're going to see some speed pushed onto those defenders.
Here's MARINHO chipping it ahead to SENINHO. Now SENINHO being marked there by Maurice Whittle. Tony Whelan, or other Colin Fowles, chipping it out. Bobby Korish and Giorgio Canaglia racing for it. Canaglia doing a little footwork there with Korish. They're going to fight over it. The ball stays in bounds. Surprisingly, Canaglia, an excellent player. Down goes Fowles. No whistle. TUEART with a shot. Blocked by Fogarty. Now SENINHO. SENINHO fires it. And wide, he was going for TUEART over his head. And the Strikers come away with it. SENINHO just chipped that ball too far. He had TUEART wide open. It went over the top of the head of Dennis TUEART. He could not get a header on it. The ball goes over the touchline. We'll have more Soccer 79 in just a moment.
Okay.
Striker substitution. Leaving the game, number 4, Ray Hudson. Reporting in, number 5, Roy Wigamanson.
There's your sub who just came in. We'll stay with him. Mike's on.
Coach Ron Newman making a substitution. There you see number 5, Roy Wigamanson, in for Ray Hudson. Hudson now out of the game, but Bill, I think we still got to consider Ray, at least for offensive player of the game today, with an assist and a goal.
Not only that, but Ray has contributed to the team throughout this this campaign. He leads the team with 2 goals and 2 assists, which is 6 points, second to only Cabillas.
13 minutes and under 30 seconds to play in this game. The Strikers up 2-1, perhaps on the verge of coming away with their first victory ever at Giant Stadium here against the New York Cosmos. Let me tell you, though, lest we get too overconfident, last week the New York Cosmos held a 2-1 lead over the Atlanta Chiefs in Atlanta with just 20 seconds to play when the Chiefs scored to tie it up and sent it into overtime, and then of course lost in the shootout to the Cosmos 3-2. But goals can come at any time in the North American Soccer League. Here's George Best chipping it way ahead to Nene Cabillas. Cabillas knocks it down, and now it's knocked out nicely by Eskandarian, who gains possession and races up the side with it. Eskandarian has played a very fine game, and I would certainly have to consider him for defensive player of the game. Certainly coming off an injury, he has played extremely well.
Eskandarian, both teams have played a very well-balanced game, and it's going to be tough to try and really choose that Lipton offensive and defensive player, but somebody's got to get it, and I think the player that does finally get it is going to be well-deserved after this match.
Bogicevic and Colin Fowles both heading for it there. They knock heads, and the ball goes over the touchline. It'll be a throw-in, and Bogicevic will do the honors for the New York Cosmos. You have to have both feet on the ground on a throw-in and the ball in both hands. That enables you, I guess. Oh, wow, what a shot! MARINHO with a shot. Boy, did he unload on that one off the throw-in.
Giorgio Canaglia deflected that ball just a little bit, but MARINHO ripped that ball. Whoa.
His second goal. Well, no sooner had we said at least we get overconfident, then boom, MARINHO with his second goal of the day. 11 minutes and 30 seconds to play in the game, and we are now tied at 2, and look at this crowd on their feet cheering for MARINHO, who really smoked one by Arnie MAUSSER into the striker nets.
MARINHO has not been playing regularly for the Cosmos. Eddie Fermani openly said he's not the type of player that I like on the field.
Well, he'll be
finally
the type
got
of player he likes. I
he
tell you
finally
that.
got a start today, and he's proving his worth. I think Eddie Romani is about ready to change his tune.
And now this crowd very fired up, and the Cosmos on the attack, still playing though with only 10 men.
That's just a thing that can't
Beckenbauer.
have happened. Has happened, and now this crowd is going wild.
There's the official announcement. The goal to Marinho. Here's SENINHO with it. Ken Fogarty chips it, or rather Fogarty marking. And now the ball chipped in, and Giorgio Chinaglia with it. Chinaglia to Marinho. Marinho for TUEART. Fires, and a great save by Arnie MAUSSER.
The strikers are in a daze right now.
Dennis TUEART with a great shot, and MAUSSER diving to bat the ball wide. Now a corner kick for the Cosmos. TUEART bangs it in. BOGICEVIC. And now they head it up the middle, and MAUSSER goes up and pulls it down. Giorgio Chinaglia right there trying to head it in. He pats MAUSSER on the head, and the strikers come away surviving that scare.
Guys, stay hot on the time now.
WHELAN to Irving. David Irving loses it. That's Marinho who comes away with it, and now Marinho looking like a good candidate for Offensive Player of the Game.
10 minutes remaining, Chuck. David Irving appears to be tiring. This is the first full game he's played in several games, and they may be trying to bring Nico Bedanzi on.
Tony WHELAN brings it out, and Nene Cubillas, Teofilo Cubillas with it on the side. He loses it, and the Cosmos Eskandarian with it now. Eskandarian taking it into the midfield area to Beckenbauer, who bangs it back to Ricky Davis. And we've already seen one example of Davis's leg this afternoon.
There's a miscue.
A bad pass, and George Best, a 2-on-1 break. George Best with it. Best, he's got a chance. He fires, and Yassine stops it. George Best firing low, Yassine going down. And George Best and the strikers now very disheartened as they had an excellent opportunity there. Best and Cubillas on a 2-on-1 break. They couldn't get it in. David Irving now with it. Back to Cubillas, who chips it for Best. Best tries to head it in back for Cubillas, and it's cleared away by the Cosmos defense. An excellent job by Errol Yassine.
What a game. What a game, as both goalkeepers making key saves to keep their team in the contention. End-to-end play, a lot of shots. You can't ask for more for an opening telecast.
8 minutes and 50 seconds to play. Beckenbauer over to Carlos Alberto. Alberto down into the corner for Dennis TUEART. TUEART controls it, saves it from going over that touch line out of bounds. TUEART now chips it into the middle. Chinaglia was there, but so was Tony WHELAN, and WHELAN heads it out. Here's Alberto out at the 35-yard line, which incidentally is also something that is only used in the North American Soccer League, not in international soccer. Now some holding going on in there, and no call by the official.
Let's go.
Roy Wingemans is definitely holding it. We'll have more Soccer 79 in just a moment. We got a game.
Guys, just you're doing a fine job. Just stay hot on your time now because it's very critical. I can't keep punching it up because we have a problem here. You just keep mentioning time.
Yeah.
Nico Bedanzi now into the game as out goes David Irving, and Coach Ron Newman now using his second substitution, and I'm sure that will be the last one he'll make. Here is SENINHO for the Cosmos. Out front, the ball's loose, and here's a goal! A great goal! Dennis TUEART.
Marinho.
Marinho, it is Marinho. His third goal of the day. And you could see that coming as the ball rolled free off of Arnie MAUSSER.
Very unlucky. Mo Whittle trying to take the ball from SENINHO. SENINHO gets by, knocks the ball across. There's a melee in front of the goal. And who else but Marinho with that right-footed cannon drilled it. 6:47 remaining in the game.
That's a hat trick. His third goal of the game. And I wonder what kind of player Eddie Fermani does like. If he doesn't like Marinho, 3 goals today, he'll like him now. George Best with it for the Strikers, who are now down a goal. With victory seemingly within grasp just minutes ago, this game is suddenly turned around, and Bestie now working with it. Here's Wingemanson. Over on the side, and a chip shot by Bedante, and Terry Park with a great shot, and Yassin is there. And the Strikers cannot get a break now. 6 minutes to play, 3-2, the New York Cosmos. What a display Marinho has put on this afternoon.
Well, you know, sometimes the coaches try some psychology, Chuck, and maybe Fermani figured this is the only way to get Marinho playing ball the way they know how to play and the way he should be playing, by benching the guy, maybe insulting him a little bit, and then having him come out and score a hat trick against the Strikers with 10 players the Cosmos are playing with.
Franz Beckenbauer controlling it for the New York Cosmos. And now the Strikers getting kind of frustrated, and there's a whistle and a foul called on Colin Fowles. And the Cosmos come away with it. SENINHO with the assist on Marinho's last goal. The time 82 minutes and 47 seconds. Here's Marinho with it. And now the crowd anticipating every time Marinho touches it. A little give and go there. And TUEART with it. And there's a shot by Chinaglia that goes wide over the goal line. A goal kick for Arnie MAUSSER. We'll have more Soccer 79 in just a moment. Marinho's going to be off. Yassin.
All right, it's a corner kick. I thought it was a goal kick. Don't worry about it.
I like Yassin.
Stand by, Mike's so hot.
Stand by.
We're back.
4 minutes to play. The New York Cosmos with a 3-2 lead over the Fort Lauderdale Strikers. There's Giorgio Chinaglia to Marinho. Marinho already with all 3 of the Cosmos goals. The referee getting a little bit caught up in things there. And now Chinaglia with it. Chinaglia fires, and MAUSSER knocks it down. He fires it out, and the Strikers now will have to hurry. 3 minutes and 38 seconds to play. There you have our offensive player of the game, and we have, Bill and I have collaborated here on the Lipton offensive player of the game, Marinho. And I don't think that comes as much of a surprise to anyone. 3 goals, a hat trick. He's got all 3 of the Cosmos goals and has them out in front by a goal. 3-2, 3 minutes to play. And Marinho controlling at midfield to Beckenbauer. Beckenbauer to SENINHO. SENINHO comes up the right side. He's got Ricky Davis running ahead of him. Davis takes the pass from SENINHO. Chips it into the middle. Over on the far side is Dennis TUEART. TUEART has his feet taken out from under him. And oh, they plead for a penalty. They don't get it. Giorgio Chinaglia is hot. Dennis TUEART is down. But the Strikers have the ball and are on the attack and are coming away. Here's George Best. And now there's been a card. The referee has yellow carded Giorgio Chinaglia. Best fires it. Oh! Just stopped by Yassin High. And they're going to bring the ball back upfield.
You know, the clock had stopped. This crowd is so wild, so noisy. They're unable to hear the referee's whistle. And as though play continued, it was dead a few minutes ago or a few seconds ago, and they're going to bring it back to midfield.
2 minutes and 37 seconds to play. They'll bring the ball back upfield, and the Fort Lauderdale Strikers will put it in play. Giorgio Chinaglia did receive a yellow card for pleading with the official for a penalty kick when Dennis TUEART had his feet taken out from under him in the penalty area. Here's Maurice Whittle. He chips it ahead for Nene Cubillas. Cubillas loses it. That's SENINHO with it down in the corner. SENINHO to Marinho, who clears it out. Maurice Whittle regaining possession out around the 35-yard line. Thunderfoot over to Nico Badonzi. Badonzi racing into the corner, kicks it off Ricky Davis. It'll be a corner kick for the Fort Lauderdale Strikers. And now our defensive player, and Bill, I think the Lipton defensive player has to be this young man, Errol Yassin.
Errol played a fine game. He made a key save earlier in the game. He made another key save against Mo Whittle on the one-on-one. He has to definitely get the defensive player of the game. Nothing would make me happier, though, than to have the Strikers score and tie this up, such as a Nico Badonzi cannon with 1 minute and 50 seconds left. Plenty of time to score a goal. The Strikers can do it, but you're going to see the Cosmos collapsing back into that penalty box. They're going to swear that they had 25 people there.
And they only have 10, as you'll recall, William RIJSBERGEN was ejected for violent conduct at the beginning of the second half. The Cosmos have played most of the second half with only 10 men. The Strikers, of course, have the usual 11. Now Chinaglia takes it away. He's got TUEART in the middle. He doesn't see him. Chinaglia brings it out to the middle, tries to fire his shot. Terry Park has it now for the Fort Lauderdale Strikers, and the Strikers are on the attack. 1 minute and 20 seconds to play. George Best. Best looking on the right side. He's got Wingemonson, and Wingemonson now with it. Roy Wingemonson boots it in for Cubillas, who gives it back to Wingemonson, and it's cleared out by Marinho. Marinho heads it out of bounds over the touchline, a throw-in for the Fort Lauderdale Strikers. 1 minute and 1 second still to play in this game. 3-2, the Cosmos up. Boy, how the winds of fate have turned on the Fort Lauderdale Strikers here late in the second half. Seemingly with a victory in hand at 2-1, things have really turned around. The Cosmos now up 3-2, Bill.
They've got to get that ball to Nico Badonzi. Let him try and take some people on. He's nice and fresh. With his shot, he can possibly do some things.
Well,
could be all over here, though.
The Strikers now obviously frustrated and tired. And now watch Dennis TUEART. And look how much the Cosmos have picked up. And that ball almost eluded Arnie MAUSSER and got in the goal. MAUSSER very fortunate. The shot by TUEART off the top of MAUSSER's hand and almost dipped into the net. Almost dips into the net. 18 seconds, a corner kick for the Cosmos, and they will take their time. SENINHO walks it over. It'll be 12 seconds, 11 seconds, 10 seconds. Here is Marinho going for a fourth. He just fakes a kick. And there you hear the crowd counting it down. The New York Cosmos are going to come away winners 3-2 over the Fort Lauderdale Strikers. And Bill, what can you say? The Cosmos to do it, and they did it with only 10 men. They were down, and they were down, and when they had to show their poise, like champions, they showed their poise.
Well, the key there is it's